Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
If you're spending your precious time scouring the web for the best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals, then you need to add Rakuten to your arsenal. Rakuten is like a shopping sidekick that gives you cash back at your favorite stores and finds you the best deals, saving you time and money. Right now, you can get up to 15% cash back at hundreds of stores. You can even stack cash back on top of sales and promo codes. That's savings on savings, which honestly feels like a holiday gift in and of itself. With Rakuten, you don't need to search for the best deals, you already know you're getting them. And now's the perfect time to join. Up to 15% cash back ends on December 2nd. Also, did I mention that it's super easy to use? All you need to do is go to Rakuten.com, click on a store or deal, and just shop like normal. Cashback will automatically be added to your account, and you can get it by PayPal or check. Join for free at Rakuten.com or get the Rakuten app. That's Rakuten. Rakuten.com.
In 2005, two brothers hit the road to fight monsters. That road has led them to fighting demons, angels, and saving the world.
It's a journey that is taking them to heaven, hell, and back. But they aren't done.
Join our journey as we go episode by episode, following the adventures of Sam and Dean Winchester. We break each episode down with the writers, producers, directors, crew, and actors to bring you the behind-the-scenes stories of how this legendary TV series was made. That guy right there, that's Rob Benedict. He played God and Chuck Shirley.
Hey, and that guy there, that's Richard Spade Jr. He played Gabriel, Loki, and the Trickster. And P.S., he directed a bunch of episodes, too.
Now, while we are insiders, we're also outsiders, because we're not experts. This is our first time watching the entire series, all 327 episodes.
Rich and I have met many of the fans at conventions around the world, and we are deepening our understanding of why you all love this series so much. Because it's really good.
Yeah, it is. Now, listen. There will be spoilers, so consider yourself warned.
And thank you for joining us on this trip we call Supernatural Then and Now. Hey everybody, this is Rob Benedict.
And this is Richard Spate.
We're talking about Season 6, Episode 12. Get ready for some rich laughs. The episode's called Like a Virgin.
It certainly is, Robert.
Okay, all right, fine. The one time. You're not like, and what's the name of the episode? Hey, let me take this opportunity, this awkward silence, to say thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And if you follow the podcast on social media and you see something we post that you like, please share it.
And if you see something we post that you're not a fan of, please share it. Because there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Okay.
That's the old rule of thumb.
I don't know what kind of message that's sending out, but the long story short, let people know that we're here, we're doing it.
Yeah, it's not a secret.
Yeah, let people know. People need to know.
We want people to know.
You are our publicist.
You are, because we can't afford one on our own. So this is you. It's a grassroots word of mouth process. That's here, right. Everybody. Get out there.
That's right.
Start pulling up grass by the roots and using your mouth.
That's right. And now for a summary of the episode called Like a Virgin.
Rob will be doing today's summary like a virgin. Robert?
Okay, I knew there was something coming. And by the end of it, there's going to be 2 or 3 more coming at me.
I don't understand why you're acting so squirrely, Robert. It's an episode of television. Can't we just all focus on the content and be classy?
Very good, very good. Okay, fade in. Sam wakes up in Bobby's panic room after Death reinserted his soul. He has no memory of hell or his adventures from the past year. Dean doesn't want to say anything that will remind him of hell. worried that the memories might flood back. Bobby's having a hard time acting normal after Sam tried to kill him. Sam, he's ready to hunt.
Yeah, buddy, how are you feeling? I know, I want to check in with you real quick.
Yeah.
I have a Bobo moment. How are you doing seeing normal Sam on the screen?
Well, first of all, it's so different. Like, Jared's doing such a good job. Like, I forgot how different actual Sam is from Soulless Sam. Do I miss Soulless Sam? Yeah, I do. Okay, fine. I do. He's a badass killer. And I do like badass, heroes.
You just want a Sam that takes charge and not all the fluff, right?
Yeah, that'll take me out to dinner.
A rough and ready Sam.
But very rough and ready. But, this Sam is so cuddly and lovable. And so how could you not love him? So I wish we had them both.
I'm proud of you, buddy. You're handling it well.
Thank you. So Sam's ready to hunt. So the brothers head to Portland, Oregon to investigate a woman who disappeared from a small plane crash.
Very scary sequence, by the way, in the teaser, that plane crash. Really well shot and scary.
Yeah.
Only because my fear is being in a tiny plane like that and going down like,
oh, yeah.
John F. Kennedy Jr. Like, what a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, especially if it was from a dragon. That would be a real nightmare.
Well, yeah, and then throw in a few dragons. But let's just say no dragons. That wasn't a great flight.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just a normal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the dragon needed to do the dirty work. I'm not sure that pilot was following safety protocols correctly.
Right.
But that black box would tell a story. You know what I'm saying?
No, the black box would tell a story. In fact, they should have uncovered the black box.
That's what I would have done.
Her boyfriend, Stan, was found 17 miles from the wreckage and burned to a crisp.
Oh, man.
On the drive to Portland, Sam is trying to add up the details of the past year. Dean tells him he tried to live a normal life with Lisa and Ben, but it, quote, didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
Dean seems pleased to have the old Sam back.
Welcome back, Sammy.
Yeah, they do things like go to a house and he's very nice to the woman and she lets him in.
Yeah.
That was one of those moments where I was like, I miss old Sam, Soulless Sam.
You loved it when the Sam was mean to women in their houses.
Oh, God. Would you not?
I just assumed. That's what you were leading up to.
No, he just direct. He was direct. He's like, we're here to investigate a killing. You're guilty. He's just like.
He was like you when you're talking to an authority figure at a country's border.
Okay. While investigating the case, they discover that other women have gone missing too, and that they are all virgins. They interview a woman who was almost kidnapped. She describes her attacker as a giant bat, but the boys connect the dots and realize they might be dealing with dragons. Seems like the woman wore a promise ring, but had an interlude she didn't think counted, so she wasn't technically a virgin. Dragons. When you first hear this as dragons, Rich, as a viewer, what are you thinking?
Khaleesi, you in a dress, karaoke stage. You?
I was thinking, I can't believe we're doing dragons. I can't believe there are dragons on the show. No one ever told me that there were dragons in Supernatural. You pictured me in a dress, very similar. Obviously, you and I are very similar that way.
But there's a lot of stuff that happens in Supernatural. I didn't know there was going to be a leprechaun either. Like, I feel like the show's always kind of surprising us with stuff.
Right. Well, they get all kind of happening this season. But yeah,
I know.
To me, dragons was like a different realm. I just didn't know.
I did kind of think to myself, how are they going to pull this off?
Yeah. Bobby sends Dean to visit Dr. Viziak, a medieval expert. She tells Dean that only a sword forged in dragon's blood can kill a dragon, and she happens to have one, the Sword of Brunswick. Only one who is worthy can pull the sword from the stone.
Here's a question. Was this answered in the story and I just missed it? How in tarnation did she get that boulder into the sitting room?
And also, why would she allow Dean to put little pieces of dynamite in there with her most treasured artwork?
Yes. And also, why put the boulder in front of the fireplace in the sitting room?
Yeah, none of it.
You're not going to be able to enjoy the fireplace.
None of it makes sense. So Dean gives it a shot. He tries to pull the sword from the stone in a hilarious...
Here's a thought. Put it in the yard. It's a stone, Right,
no one's going to steal it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by the way, if they do steal it, that means they were worthy.
That's right.
Probably Rick worthy.
Right. So Dean gives it a shot. He tries to pull the sword from the stone in a hilarious attempt, and he fails.
Very funny sequence.
Very, very funny. So instead, he uses explosives to free the sword from the rock. He locks it in the room, shuts the door, and explodes all of her art, all of her most expensive stuff. Toast.
She didn't seem to care.
So the explosion frees the sword from the stone, but also breaks the sword in half. All very funny. Meanwhile, Sam has been researching with Bobby. They conclude that dragons must be in the sewers rather than the caves. So Sam notices that Bobby's acting weird. In a moment alone, Sam summons Castiel and tricks him into revealing that Sam has been walking around without a soul for the past year and a half. Yeah, Castiel tells the truth there. The brothers head to the sewers with, how about that moment where they start to hug? Did you miss that?
I don't remember that.
Sam prays so that he can have Castiel.
I remember that part.
Castiel appears in a very cool shot, actually, where Castiel's revealed. And Castiel's like, Sam, you're back. And he goes to start to hug him, but Sam sits.
Oh, I literally don't remember that. That's funny.
Really funny, awkward moment.
Awkward cast moment.
Yeah. So the brothers head to the sewers with the broken sword. They find the virgin women trapped in cages.
Did you think when the sword came out broken, I thought, oh man, it's not going to work?
No. To me, there was jaggedy edges. I was like, that'll still do some damage.
Oh, I just thought, I knew it would cut you, but I kind of thought it meant the magic was broken. Like,
Right. No.
If that were the case, they could have just bent it off or sawed it off.
True.
I mean,
True.
Whatever.
Anyway, they find the virgin women trapped in cages. They free the women. 2 dragons in human form attack Sam and Dean.
Right.
Sam is able to kill one of the dragons with the sword, but the other escapes.
By the way, the guy who does not get killed does not seem to care that the other dragon got killed. Not a lot of emotion on that guy's face.
Well, dragons don't have emotion.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I knew this because I played Khaleesi.
It's weird because when you played Khaleesi, you were real cranky about it. You had a ton of emotion.
I was cranky and creepy. Back at Bobby's, Sam and Dean discuss Sam's time without a soul. Sam wants to remember and to try to right any wrongs he may have done. Dean urges him to forget about it and move on.
Move on.
He doesn't want to risk Sam remembering his time in hell, thus potentially driving himself mad. Bobby examines a manuscript from the Dragon's Lair. He determines it contains instructions on how to open purgatory and free the mother of all things.
Yeah, that's a trippy title.
So in a final moment, we see the escaped dragon meeting up with another who has captured some more virgin women. They throw one into a pit, and the mother of all things rises from the fire and says, let's get to work.
Right, so all tracks except for one thing. Why do you need a cage full of virgins for that? Don't you just need one? It threw one in there and she came back embodying the mother of all things? That's
a great question. I wish I had an answer. That's a great question. And the same could go for why is it all women? Why does it have to be virgin women? What about a virgin dude or two?
Good question, Robert.
Yeah.
Really good question.
Yeah, we may never know. You'll have to go back and watch that funny, awkward hug moment because that was, again, it was one of those things where I always think like Phil Sgriccia, who directed it, I always feel like there was like a, hey, what if we do this? This could be funny.
Phil moment. Yeah, he's good like that. All right, well, it's time for Rob and Rich ratings. I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was fun. I liked having normal Sam back. I liked the banter with Bobby. I thought the story was cool. A little far-fetched for the dragons. Not that that's a bad thing, but it was just, there was limits to what you can show with the dragons. I thought it was clever to use the heated hand as a sign of the creature's ability to generate heat versus breathing fire,
Yeah.
I dug the Jensen trying to get this blade out of the stone was just classic. It was great.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I enjoyed the airplane sequence. I thought that was really creepy because that just is a creepy scenario for anybody to imagine.
Well, and you've got to think about flying.
I'm going to go with, I'm giving this
Jesus.
a new guy. I'm going to go with Randy Owen.
Wow.
I'm giving this episode the Randy Owen.
Right, and no one knows who the hell that is, but...
Only freedom-loving patriots. It's the lead singer of the band Alabama. Going with Randy Owen because Randy Owen had just a dope goatee, kind of like our very own Phil Sgriccia, just much more trimmed up. Just a classy-looking dude. Sometimes he had the full beard, handsome. Kind of looks like Billy the Butcher.
Oh, yeah, he does, yeah.
So he's a kind of a country version of Billy the Butcher with a nice, well-trimmed beard, a lot going on. Not a Stapleton, but a darn fine beard.
Right.
That could be a goatee, could be a beard, up to Randy, whatever he's feeling.
Right.
And I think it's a nice, strong review for this one. Robert?
Wow, very good. You went right to the beard, didn't even wait for me, but I'm going to go ahead and give my review.
Well, somebody's got to go first. Khaleesi.
Right. Well, usually you give a rating, I give a review. You give a review, I get a review. Then we do our beards. It's beard time.
Well, sometimes we give beards and then we give reviews.
And sometimes we pre-plan and pre-pick our beard and have a name ready that nobody knows.
And sometimes we grab a beer on a Friday, but sometimes we don't. You know what I mean?
Now you're talking. All right. So I liked the episode. I love what Phil did with it.
Yep.
The only part that gave me pause was that it was dragons. I was just like, I was thrown a little bit by dragons. Like fairies and leprechauns still, to me, is in the world of like tales that people tell that that might actually be real, maybe still on our planet. I don't know. But dragons, that's like dinosaurs. You know what I mean? That's just like, that's a different realm.
It didn't strike me that way. I was thinking more, I hear you. I was thinking more about the logistics of it, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, logistically, they did great, and I agree with you. I thought that the guys that played the dragons, it was really cool that they had the molten red, hand. And I thought that scene with Jensen and the sword. I don't know if I've seen that. I'm sure I have, but I don't remember it, and it's hilarious. I thought that was great. It actually is good to have good, nice Sam back.
Yeah.
You realize what a great job Jared's been doing, almost subtly making the Soulless Sam come to life. That now that he's back, you're like, that is nice to have him back. And Bob, agree with you about Bobby and the whole thing. So I'm going to give it the James Harden. James Harden, basketball player, now plays for the Clippers, I think.
That's a good beard.
He's the only NBA player that has a really long beard.
Yeah, and, great beard.
So it's a great beard. It's almost unrealistic that someone in the NBA would have this grand beard, and maybe it would slow him down. And yet, no, it didn't. So in the same way, thinking dragons, this might slow us down, but it didn't. It was still made for a complete episode. And so therefore, I give it the Harden.
Randy Owen and the Harden. I love it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a show itself.
Yeah, it really does.
Well, we speaking of a show itself, we could just build the whole show around this guy because we've got the maestro, the director. We've got Mr. Fabulous Goatee himself.
Yeah.
Phil Sgriccia here to talk about the episode.
Yep. TV's favorite uncle.
How are we excited about this?
We're very excited. I was just thinking, we haven't seen Phil in a while.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see him and to talk to him.
All right, so let's do it.
All right, here's our interview with Phil Sgriccia.
Hello, Philip. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and you're up there being a bigwig in Toronto.
Amazing.
Getting ready to direct more boys, yeah?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I bet. Well, we missed talking to you, so we needed to have you back.
So dope.
And this time we're talking about dragons. Are you ready?
Yeah, I thought we'd lost our minds, by the way,
Yeah.
when I got this script. I was like, really? We're going there?
I'm not sure you hadn't.
I thought that when I was watching it. I was like, wow. Well, so we've explored fairies and now dragons. So it's really opening up and trying new stuff in season 6. Was it a specific conversation like, hey, let's go there because we haven't yet?
I don't remember being in those. Those are writer questions, and I get kicked out of the writer's room a lot.
You didn't always get kicked out. Like, I know you like to joke about like, oh, they wouldn't.
No, I do. I do.
But you were, for people who don't understand like the sort of infrastructure of Supernatural, especially after Kim passed away, it seems to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you became the de facto sort of, I know you ran post, but you also seemed to be a little bit of the co-producing director of the thing.
Yeah, it was me and Bob. I mean, Bob did 3 or 4, and then we were available. It's like we were never up there together. We kind of always scheduled it. So, I would go up, and then 2 or 3 episodes later, he would go up, and then, we'd leapfrog that way. That way, one of us was there to help out and just be available for a chunk of,
right.
Almost half the year, I guess. But I think we also hired a lot of directors that knew the show. And so we never really had a producing director like what I do on The Boys. It's very different. It's also a less complex and less budgeted show. So,
You weren't producing director in the season 13, 14?
No, not really. I mean, I was an executive producer, so we didn't really have, even with Kim there, Kim didn't consider himself like the producing director. He just considered him as a producer that directed a lot.
Right.
Kim did 5 episodes a year.
Wow.
For some reason, I always referred to you as the de facto PD on that show, but...
Yeah, I mean, sure. I was always around. I did a lot of them, so I guess I didn't get that title.
Well, can we describe for people that may not know what a producing director is, how it's different than producer, different than director?
Well, you're the director on board for The Boys, at least. I'm here all the time.
Right.
I direct multiple episodes, but I'm here to help tell the story, help the other directors get through their stories. You're kind of the fire department, if there's a problem with something and it needs help, or if, we've had it where we don't have actors available. And so months later, we pick up shots. The beauty of streaming services is that, you don't have an air date in 4 weeks.
Right.
You've got an air date a year later.
Right.
it took a year for me to get used to that because your head is always going, we got to get the air date. We got to get the air date. And then you realize, oh, the air date's 9 months from now. Okay.
Yeah, which is completely different than Supernatural.
Yeah. So, it's a much bigger show. There's much more complexity with the boys. We have a whole layer of what would be advertising, television, background, anything in a TV set, 90% of that I shoot. Sometimes the director on board shoots it, but for the most part, if it's, we go through tons of stuff, like with Jensen when he was doing Soldier Boy, we had all this old footage that we needed of him and like still shots of him black and white in Germany in World War II. So we had to create stuff like that. And that's part of what I do is help that side of it, help work with the art department, work with all the stunts and visual effects and all that. I
got lucky enough to get you to direct a day of me doing Splinter stuff.
Yes, Naked Rob.
That had nothing to do with the Splinter stuff. I assume that was just Rob showing up at the office.
No. Exactly. It's highlighted my career, by the way.
Well, so in Supernatural at this point, so this really was what you're saying is that you're just kind of you got the script. You're like, wow, okay, we're going there.
Yeah, I mean, it was also a new year. Sarah Gamble had taken over because year 5 was the end of Kripke, and then Sarah took over, and she wanted to spread her wings a bit and try stuff. Right. And I can't disagree with that, but I might question it. But it's as long as you've got Sam and Dean and Bobby and Misha, Castiel, you're kind of okay because they'll make it work. It did feel a little far-fetched for us because we're not that kind of horror sci-fi fantasy show.
Right.
It was, we're not Game of Thrones or House of Dragons. It's, we didn't even show a dragon. We showed silhouettes and stuff because we don't have that kind of budget.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, how can we do this without? And so it was all done with the camera work and the world around it, the swirling fans and stuff like that.
Right. Speaking of the airplane shot, how did you do that? Was that just an airplane? Like, what was the plane? Was it an actual plane?
We had a real plane on a gimbal.
Was that the first time the show had, I know there was in season 2, there was a plane sequence, but that was like a commercial plane set, I assume, right?
Yeah, that was at there's a school at the airport that deals with mechanics and, airline, everything about an airline. And they have a mock-up. And that Bob did that episode. I think it was episode 4 in year 1. Jensen, we find out that Dean is afraid of flying.
Right.
This one was, I think it was just a bit of the wing and all the cockpit, and it was on a gimbal. So it was on this thing that could, float around.
In your own stages?
The stages, yeah. We were in the stages.
So you built that for this bit?
Yes. And, everything that was outside, the wider shot, the shot that we come in, we shot that part, and then visual effects added, Ivan and his, magicians at the time. We had green pods everywhere.
Yeah.
We put in the blades of in the rain. I think we put a bit of wetness on the windows, and then we had to also have the window broken at one point when the guy gets
taken out. I thought that was clever doing that. Like, just close your eyes, imagine a beach, and then bang, he's gone.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's all because we don't have the budget.
But it still makes for creative storytelling that works, Yeah. And you started a really wide shot.
Yes.
So my question is, were you really wide, or is that a gimmick where you were not wide and then when you shot the footage, you just took the image back?
Oh, we shot beyond our set.
Okay.
Like that shot that goes in and tight on the 2-shot in the window. That we started way back, and we were on a dolly crane or something because we were up a little higher, and we just floated into a tight kind of 2-shot.
Did everything around it have to be green, or
Can't remember now. It was either green or black. The green might have done a bunch of reflective things that we didn't want.
Right.
Because it was night, so night black was better, maybe. I'd have to go back and talk to Ivan about that. I can't.
Well, it's just interesting to see how this show is an interesting sort of marker on how effects improve. Like what you can do with them. Like, for example, the camera's moving.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessarily as achievable a few years before, No,
it was always lock it off. And then this was just move it around wherever we wanted, because a lot of the shots are super tight and through the glass. So we just needed rain and, wind on the glass so the water moved. And, and because it's in a storm, it's on this gimbal. So we didn't have to do a lot with the camera shaking, but, and then we shot a couple that were kind of from the back over the French over kind of feel on some of that because we got an interesting angle through the back window or the rear side. So yeah, it was super fun to shoot the two actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was creepy. Like, I mean, like in terms of setting up a really creepy, Cessna flight in peril, it worked, man. It was really scary and really creepy.
Yeah, it was fun.
The intro of the show, the supernatural explosion, does it always have this season, did it always have a broken glass element? Because it seemed like you used the crashing of the plane to go right into that. There was glass.
No, each one was different. And we kind of went through with visual effects and with Eric and with Bob and with, now it would have been Sarah, of like, what's the overall theme feeling? There was one later on that had more like Enochian kind of tabletry to it because we had these stones, so there's each season is brought, and I think the glass break, we always wanted that kind of feeling like you were punched into the main title.
It worked remarkably well with this episode specifically because it was a plane crash and then the shattered glass just felt like a continuation of the shot.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah, that was lucky. All lucky.
That's that film magic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Totally.
Adam Glass spoke about the Eastern European influence on the script. Was that on your radar when you were prepping the shoot? Do you remember?
I mean, Adam wrote it, so Adam was like, to me, he and Ben Edlund were similar wavelengths of out there stuff, and he always brought in, and the guy that played the dragon Ilya is Eastern European,
right?
And that's his accent. So I think it helps. It's like the Dracula story. All that stuff kind of works better from the dark parts of Europe, Romania,
for sure,
that sort of thing. But I think the whole thing about the virgin thing feels a little like, I don't know, could we do that today? Maybe not.
Yeah.
No, it felt a little.
Yeah.
There was at times, I know though. I mean, there's like references in there. You're like, wow, that's today.
Yeah.
The P. Diddy.
Yeah, the P. Diddy. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, Adam Glass knew something we didn't know back then, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, we had all that. There's a couple others in there that I'm kind of like, what?
There's a couple of pop culture references there's some of these no one's going to get if they, like my sons would not pick up on it.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely new stuff. Like he's like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And Dean calls Sam something.
Yeah. And Bobby calls Sam Memento.
Yeah. Memento. Yeah.
Which I love. I love all that.
I love that too. And that's,
if you don't know it, go find
100%.
it.
Yeah. Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Cloverfield. Yeah.
Cloverfield reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. And there's a fair amount of humor in this one too, in spite of the seriousness of the topic.
Yeah.
I mean, Jensen with the removing the sword.
Rock solid.
It's hilarious.
Rock solid. No pun intended. Just great.
We cut it up, but there was we had so much fun doing that because you ever see Spaceballs?
Sure.
Yeah.
The Brooks movie.
Yeah.
But the beginning starts with the ship and it's got the evil music and the ship's going. All of a sudden they run out of music.
And it's still going.
And the ship keeps going and it keeps going.
Oh, dude.
We did a version of that where we went in on him and he's pulling and pulling and the music stops and then the camera slowly backs up and then we start again. Like he's going to keep going and it's going to happen this time. Like,
but that's not the version you used, right? Because
no, we ended up cutting it up, but it was one of those moments where you're watching it, you're like, this is so silly, but let's lean into it. And then,
well, you still leaned into something really funny that was musically centric that made me think it's also very much your sense of humor.
The needle.
Yeah, how it start and stop. Like it's like. The music was it was really funny.
And then he falls out. He falls down. It's really
that was really funny.
And the sword's going like vibrating.
Literally, I knew that back off camera, everybody's it's like a bunch of dudes making a movie with their phone, just like having a laugh.
It was so funny because, and also Kim, who I've worked with before, many years before, you knew she could give you the right tone of what a child this man is.
Right.
It's like, okay, boys will be boys.
Yeah, at no point do you get the sense that she believes in him.
Yeah, not at all. No. Well, it's also, he's from Bobby's world, so
something happened there.
Something happened there. was super fun to do. And then
Were there a lot of bloopers from that whole bit?
there was a massive amount of bloopers.
Yeah.
More bloopers than you can throw a stick at, Robbie.
Or a
Sword.
sword.
Yeah, exactly, Robbie.
Or half a sword.
Let's go. Kick it up a notch.
Now,
Rich.
listen, Rob, I know this is a Phil interview, but I got to direct this question to Rob. Rob, I have a question for you. And don't look at the sheet. It's not on there. I see you scanning the sheet. Here's the thing, Phil, I'll fill you in on a little something. We've been doing, as you know, episode by episode. And Rob has a real bee in his bonnet for / man crush on Soulless Sam.
Yeah, Souless Sam was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, Rob, how are you emotionally holding up to the soulful Sam being back?
The return of Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I did miss him. It's nice to have him back.
Really? Because you've been, Soulless Sam this, Soulless Sam that.
No, this, if you let me finish, I also miss Souless Sam. He told it like it was. You know what I mean?
I went by his desk during math class, Phil, and I saw Robert scribbled Mr. and Mrs. Soulless Sam on his test paper.
There you go.
The truth is out.
Yeah, that's right.
With a heart.
You with a heart. I thought it was so great to have normal Sam back.
Yeah, I mean, I miss Souless Sam, but no, it was.
Kind of one of the storylines that you can only go. So I would like to push those things further. Like when the boys separate, it's like do 4 episodes or 6 episodes without them. But it's like, no, that the audience won't do that.
Right.
And I'm like, you don't know because we don't do it.
No, but it was almost striking to see the difference too. You're like, oh right, that's Sam.
Yeah.
It almost gave more. It made it even more powerful what we've been watching for the last couple episodes.
I actually agree. It kind of magnified what Jared had been doing as the soulless version of himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, also that there's going to be consequences further
Right.
on.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to think if this might have been the episode we came back from the mid break because the road so far was a much longer,
It was.
bigger song.
yeah.
As I'm watching that, I'm like, oh yeah, this was probably the one that came on at the end of January or something.
Gotcha.
And we had like a 3-week break between 11 and 12. So,
Yeah. This originally aired on February 2nd, 2011.
that's
there you go.
Yeah.
And who do we have there? Aerosmith.
Oh, dude, that was a dope track to use.
Back in the saddle.
My favorite one though was later on in the car. No, a lot of people won't know that.
Jethro
song.
Tull,
Yeah.
New Day Yesterday.
Yeah.
People don't know that
Yesterday,
tune, or I guess they don't know Jethro Tull.
Well, it's not Aqualung. It's not one of
Right.
the big hits.
Right.
I thought the heaviness of it, and I try and find the ones that feel like they work with the tone of the story.
Yeah. Well,
And with the story, it means something. It's not just a song.
yeah. Well, it was great.
Phil, do you remember what it was like shooting in the B.T. Rogers mansion? With the building that serves as Dr. Viziak's home.
Yeah, we shot in there a ton. Jerry kept changing it around. It used to be a restaurant in Vancouver, and it was right in the middle of town, like as I recall. And it was an old restaurant that went dead and now became a location. And we used it for several things. Jerry would redo that mural glass thing on the
So
staircase.
it was a restaurant, but so when you guys used it, was it nothing?
It was a closed down restaurant. I mean, there was nobody in there.
Well, it's also known as Gabriola.
Which makes no sense.
And in the West End, and it's said to be haunted.
Did you feel like it was haunted, Phil?
No,
Come on, Phil.
no, I never felt that.
All right.
Classic Phil. Whenever he feels like something's haunted, he always says no.
Yeah, no. We weren't there at night. We were only there in the daytime.
So, is the actress who rises up in the end and she's mother? Are we going to see her again? Is she a recurring?
Yeah, that's
Julia Maxwell, right?
Yeah, she's got to be in a lot because suddenly she's the mother of all. Like I figure she must be the big bad.
Yeah, this is where the story is going, that she's the mother of all monsters.
Oh.
And what you'll find, I don't want to break it to you, but she shifts.
Oh.
She shifts?
Okay.
Shoot.
She's not a shapeshifter.
Okay.
She's a shifty shape.
Wait, she doesn't shape shift, but she shifts. What do you mean? She slides over to the left and right? What do you mean she shifts?
She makes you see other things, other people.
Ooh.
Oh.
I can't remember what the exact rule was, but there's something else.
All right.
Do we
Interesting.
ever get so she rises up as mother from purgatory, right?
Right.
And how'd you do that shot with was that just a green screen?
That was a crazy way of telling the story. Thank God Bob Singer was around. the first written part of it was she comes up out of the water.
Oh, huh.
And we're shooting this in late November
Oof.
in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to be wearing this diaphanous,
Gown.
slip
Uh-huh.
gown.
Nice SAT word, Phil.
And all of us, me and Jerry, especially Wanek, our production designer, were like driving around lakes going, all right, if we put a hot tub over here and we have a crane here and a sub guy, a scuba diver here.
My God.
And then we both looked at each other and said, there's no way we're putting a young lady in this sort of outfit in a lake in November.
Oh, God, no.
So we kept going round and round about how can we do this? And Bob, thank God Bob was around. He goes, why not coming out of some sort of cave? We can build build the cave and build, a piece that goes downward, and then Ivan can extend it.
Mm-hmm.
So all that was on stage. Jerry built this massive 2 or 3 story cave with a ledge and an opening to the tunnel. And we built the tunnel part of the cave at a park outside, so at night, it was at night so we could hide stuff. But thank God Bob had the idea.
Wow. That's a stage.
No, wait. I'm just trying to get my head around this. So when they're standing up on the precipice, looking down,
that's a stage.
That's the sound stage.
Yeah,
that's on the sound stage, and she jumps off into a pad.
And then what was the part in the park?
The outside where they come in the trucks, the 2 guys.
Okay, yeah.
And they've got the truck, a van full of virgins, like you do in the park at night.
Sure.
So Jerry built some like leaning rocks, and so there was like an entrance to a cave. So
wow. Amazing.
That's really cool. I had it being an outside thing. That was cool.
We were having such a dilemma with the water thing because it was a cool idea, and I think Adam and Sarah were really pushing. And all of us were like, "This would be so cool if it wasn't this time of year."
Yeah.
Even in the summer, it's cold
Yeah.
up there. The waters aren't very warm anyway.
Yeah.
So we kept thinking, all right, well, we'll do it with a hot tub and we'll do this and that. And it came out so much better because when she comes up out of the cavern, the crack in the earth, and her legs got all that like burn mark.
That was cool.
The back of her feet
really cool.
As she forward, that was the brilliant part of it, was that you just see her feet kind of dangling.
Oh yeah.
And then she lands, and I like how we intercut it all. I'm not sure if it was scripted that way, but we ended up that way, and it felt right to go back and forth between the boys and Bobby, kind of explaining what it was while the dragons pull the mother out.
Right. It kind of gross that the book is made of human skin too.
I love how Jensen kind of wipes his fingers on it.
Yeah, totally.
Really gross.
So many things like that whenever you're directing, I wonder what's created in the moment and what you might be like, hey, I think it'd be funny if you do this here, or Jensen, there's something, a shorthand between you and all of us, but it creates this a really fun playground where you're like, ooh, I got something,
Yeah. Yeah, you try. I mean, you want that moment where magic happens after you hit the record button, and you got to allow that to happen. As a director, as an artist, or a craftsman.
Like with the actress that you said you'd worked with before, who has the sword, the one who owns the sword. Yeah. There was this subtle sort of flirtation.
She's married to Robert Ulrich.
What? Is she really?
That's her last name.
I noticed that, and I wondered if she was related.
Yeah. Her and Robert had been, I don't know now, but this was 15 years ago or whatever.
Wow.
But yeah, Kim had done some show that I probably edited for Bob back in the 90s. Might have been Reasonable Doubts or something. And so she was always part of Bob's, actor pool. That's
the darndest.
She was good.
Well, she was great. And there was this sort of sexiness about her. And Jensen was playing sort of okay. And I wondered how much that was you guys kind of playing around on set, because there was nothing written that made it obvious.
Well, she's a very attractive, sexy woman, and I think probably a few years older than him.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like, and I think in the back of his head, he's also thinking, what was the tale of Bobby and her?
Yeah,
exactly,
you definitely are wondering what happened
that's
there.
That's what spurs you on. You're like, oh,
does she come back? Is this a thing? Does she come back at all? Do you ever find out?
Boy, I'd have to go back and look.
You stumped the band, Rob.
Yeah, boy.
So let's talk about how you shot this. A couple of other sequences. There's a sequence at the beginning where we are, a gathering of like schoolgirls are walking down the sidewalk, and they part company, and one peels off and is on their own. And I don't know if this is intentional or not, But I got a very Lost Boys vibe because the high, wide shots following her, where Lost Boys would use that as the vampire, the camera chasing people. It had a really cool, and I say that as a huge compliment because I love Lost Boys.
This is before drone.
Yeah.
And this was like before we could afford 50-foot techno crane. I don't know, maybe we did have a techno crane. We had a huge crane that we went up into the trees with because the idea was you're the point of view. You can't show the dragon, so all you can do is point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it worked. So the use of the camera and wind worked really well.
Yeah, and then it was like the flapping of the wind, and we needed like the swirling around. And then, we had a really long lens along the ground so you could see the leaves and
legs.
Legs.
Do you do that at the same time? Were you running those two things at the same time?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Probably.
Because that's got to be a really long lens then, man, because you were really high on that. I mean, you had a pretty wide frame.
Yeah, but you could sit back with a 180 or something back.
That was awesome. Grass. It looked great.
And Jodie Balfour was the actress. She went on to do, what was it called? The Outsider.
Oh.
She also did Dairy Girls or something. She's been
really.
She's kind of become a bit of a known actor.
That's awesome.
Now, I think.
She did a great job.
That's great.
Yeah. And that was so. I mean, the aftermath where she's in the hospital, and
that's also one of those scenes where I was watching that going, I don't know if this translates to today. You know what I mean? A little bit, because the way Jensen asked it was very Gail. Did you?
Oh yeah. You're stepping on the wrong area here, buddy. I think it's one of those bits where you're just like, okay, this was the time when you could do that.
It definitely feels like a museum piece in certain parts, like that line.
Also, as the boys get older, it gets creepier.
Yes.
As they start eyeing the young lady.
Yes.
It's like, well, wait a minute. Hey, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say I 100% agree, but I didn't get the feeling like Dean was, I felt more paternal in this one thing, or older brother, like, should you be wearing that ring? Like, I didn't get a creepy vibe per se.
Yeah, for sure.
But it also felt very much like it's a male world and I'm going to ask you this thing, young lady. Are you sure? Like, it was very like,
yeah, exactly. I'm going to mansplain you.
Yeah, but Dean's whole thing, I thought, was that he was just like, he's the anti-virgin. Like, ha-ha.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he says it. He says, being easy got an upside.
Exactly. Yeah. Which honestly works better with normal Sam back. Right, because then Sam can play the straight guy in the scene, right? To Dean's comedy.
Agreed.
Yeah. Do we ever get to see Purgatory?
Oh man,
I love how many questions have really stumped Phil.
I'd have to go back.
Yeah, I don't know either. I feel like we have. I feel like at some point.
You feel like we do? You mean?
Yeah, I feel like we do later.
Which one? Let's see. We did one in Hell with Ben Edlund directing, where it was this.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. Oh, okay. There's a funny bit with Ben's version.
Yeah, we haven't seen that yet. It's coming up.
It's hilarious. Okay, then I'll shut up.
Oh, okay. That's season 6?
Yeah.
It'll be fun to, when we start to watch the episodes that, like, I know that, Misha directed one. I know that Serge directed 1 or 2.
Oh, you get everybody. Johnny Mack, Kevin Parks.
Yeah. Richard Spade. I mean, by the end, that anybody could do it.
But way before anybody who was standing upright.
There's handing him out to...
Anybody, that we couldn't give away.
I'm finally like, fine, I'll do one. Jeez, guys.
They asked me, I said no. But I said, try Rich.
Are you joking? No way. I'm Rob Benedict. Phil, thanks so much for coming and doing this, dude. It's always great chatting with you.
Okay, kids.
Great to see you, buddy. Thanks you for being
Phil.
here.
Yeah, good seeing you guys. Let me know when you need me again.
We will.
Hey, this is Jeffrey Dean Morgan. We are going to take a quick break.
For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, and when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Hey, it's Jeffrey D. Morgan again. Welcome back to the podcast.
Well, that was great, as always.
First of all, Phil just makes me laugh. Just like the Philness of Phil makes me laugh.
Yeah. He likes you a lot, too. You can tell you guys are cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, well, Phil is just unapologetically Phil and has a pretty gosh darn good memory for all of these things.
Oh, my God. Amazing.
For these details.
And remembers everyone's names. He's like, oh, that was Sheila, of course. And
yeah, I know. It's remarkable.
There's a young lady that worked as a prop assistant named Louisa who had the cutest little
She was
dog,
left-handed.
Yeah, exactly. No, he remembers everything, and he's quietly just ruling the streaming world with the boys and all the spinoffs.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, no, it's just great to talk to him. I love him. I loved all the time I got to spend with him, and I feel like you get to spend a lot of time with him outside of work. And
I try whenever it works out. I just enjoy his company tremendously.
And I felt like I got to be a little bit of Rich when I was up there in Toronto working with him. So good to have him back. Good to see him. And now it's time for a little section of the program that we like to call Mythology.
Mythology.
Richard, tell the people about the Sword of Brunswick.
The Sword of Brunswick is a legendary weapon from Czech folklore.
Oh, Czech. I always thought it was Czech.
No, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, Robert.
Okay, got it.
Deeply tied to the mythical figure Prince Brunswick. He embarked on a perilous quest across various mythical lands filled with mythical dangers and mythical monsters. During his travels, Brunswick encountered a mythical lion being attacked by a mythical dragon. Despite the danger, Brunswick saved the mythical lion. You know, at first, he shot an arrow at the mythical lion, but he missed and had to shoot again.
Oh, man.
And then the lion became his loyal companion.
Okay. That's funny because there weren't that many mythicals. There was two mythical, and he added the other 6 or 7.
I felt like there was a lot of mythical mything from this description.
Yeah. Right. Well, later he aided a powerful, mystical and mythical wise old man. In gratitude, this mystic gave Brunswick a magical sword. According to the legend, the sword was enchanted to be unbreakable and had the ability to cut through anything, including armor, stone, or men named Spate.
What? That's impossible.
I'm just reading what it says.
That's an incredible sword. According to the legend, Brunswick's sword was hidden beneath Charles Bridge Charles was shocked to find that sword under him when he stood up one day.
And where is Charles Bridge in the world?
It's in Prague.
Prague.
It's in Prague.
In Czech Republic.
Indeed. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, Republic. And it was hidden there after the Brunswick died.
Right.
That's where they put it.
It's a legend. So it's a legend. So there's not really, we don't know if it's really there or not.
You don't know that.
You'd think that they would have searched underneath the Charles Bridge. I mean, it's a pretty small area to
Maybe we're the first people to find out this little tidbit.
All right. There you go. Talk to me about human dragons.
Well, very different than just a human drag who's kind of a bummer, a pill, somebody you don't want to hang out with, especially if they're in a certain mood.
Hi.
I'm not gonna name names, but
oh, hello.
Say their name rhymes with Schlav Flinedick
from the Czech Republic.
From the Czech Republic. While dragons in human form are a great solution to accommodate Supernatural's budget, it does have lore to support it. Zmnej are the Slavic versions of dragons. Czech and Slavic are part of the same region and ethno group. In the Slavic mythology, dragons can transform into human form and retain some of their powers. So you see, Rob, some of this was real.
Zmages are real. Zmaj.
That doesn't roll off the tongue.
It's spelled Z-M-A-G-J. Zmaj.
Zmaj. Zmaj in a world where that word was used a lot in our language. You know what is more fun than mythology?
What?
Fun facts.
It's right there in the name.
Yeah.
All right. Like a Virgin, the title of this episode is a 1984 song by an artist named Madonna.
I never heard of it or her.
Didn't know that.
This episode was initially called How to Train Your Dragon until a absolutely destructive lawsuit was threatened by the good people at Disney.
That's right.
Came to a screeching halt. Actually, I don't know. Did Disney do How to Train Your Dragon? Who did How to Train Your Dragon?
DreamWorks, yeah. The Hungarian title is Szefplani Aljandikba.
A lot of accent aigus in those words.
Yeah, I know that's not how that's pronounced, but I did my best.
Yeah, you did pretty well.
And that translates as Pretty Girl as a Gift.
Interestingly, the Japanese title, loosely translated, is The Happy Fun Boat That Kills You.
Oh, interesting. That's really hilarious that the Hungarian title is Pretty Girl as a Gift.
Yeah. And the Japanese part above the boat, which makes no sense. But whatever.
Right. Well, never does every time. When Sam and Dean hear about the dragons releasing Mother, Sam asks the Mother of Dragons? Game of Thrones doesn't premiere for another 2 months. What? How did he know?
I feel like somebody stole a script. Subterfuge.
Somebody.
I smell a lawsuit.
Maybe Sam is like,
Clairvoyant?
Clairvoyant.
Little did they know that you'd be soon dressed as the Mother of Dragons at a karaoke event.
Yes.
Selling your soul to Satan for a few ducats.
That's right.
Actress Kim Ulrich, who played Dr. Viziak, was a bridesmaid at Jim Beaver's wedding.
No way.
And by the way, let's get to the detail that we found out from Phil.
Yeah. Married
to Robert Ulrich, the casting director of Supernatural.
Yeah, that we've talked to on this very program. The Purgatory Manual was made of real skin. However, not human skin. It was pig skin. Which
is why when it was third and long, Sam threw it to Dean.
That's a football reference to anybody wondering. It's they call the football in American football the pigskin. So that was funny, Richard. That was a good one.
Thank you.
But that's kind of weirds me out. That the actual prop was made of pigskin?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Couldn't do that these days.
Wow.
Back then, every TV set had a herd of pigs, and they'd do Lord knows with them. They'd do Lord knows what with those pigs. Just to have on set, you know what I mean?
Sure. Not true, but
that's how it went from the silent movie era up until about 2008.
Okay.
Pigs everywhere.
One of the missing women is named Penny Desertine. She shares a surname with a Rebecca Desertine, who was Eric Kripke's assistant at the time. She also wrote for the show, the comic, and the book series of Supernatural. Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. Just a great, fun episode to have Phil Sgriccia do what Phil does. And Rob, you do what you do. And it's just come together to make, I think, a true, what one could call, episode of a podcast. So hearty handshakes all around.
Yes, good job, everyone. High fives, fist bumps.
What do you say we do this again for the next episode?
Let's do.
You down with that?
Same place, same time.
All right, fine. Let's do it. See you next time, everybody.
This episode of Supernatural features Jared Padalecki as Sam Winchester, Jensen Ackles as Dean Winchester, and Misha Collins as Castiel.
Guest starred include Jim Beaver, Kim Johnson-Ulrich, Ilya Volok, Darla Taylor, Zach Martin, and Julia Maxwell.
Like a Virgin was written by Adam Glass, directed by Phil Sgriccia.
Editing by Nicole Baer. Music by Christopher Leonards.
Executive produced by Robert Singer, Sarah Gamble, and Eric Kripke.
This episode featured the following dope songs, by the way. Great song choices. Back in the Saddle by Aerosmith.
And New Day Yesterday by Jethro Tull.
This episode originally aired on February 2nd, 2011.
This episode of Supernatural Then and Now was hosted and executive produced by Richard Spade Jr. and Rob Benedict.
Produced by Stephen Hine, written by Stephen Hine and Haida Hulsher.
And edited and associate produced by Trey Booty.
What's up, Booty?
Music provided by Tim Wynn.
This episode was recorded with the help of Sonic Fuel Studios.
This podcast is from Story Mill Media.
Follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at SPN Then and Now.
And become a member of the podcast to get early access, chat rooms with other podcast fans, and video interviews at patreon.com/SPN Then and Now. Hey everybody, this is Rob Benedict.
And well, I'm off to a bad start.
Wow, you forgot who you were?
I just blanked. You were so dynamic with your opening read that I was immediately sucked in.
Okay, I believe it. Her boyfriend, Stan! Why is Stan in all caps with an exclamation point?
Snow Gear, you gotta wait till I'm done with the podcast. In the Slavic mythology, Slavic!
And then when do we get the Splinter spinoff? The Splinter.
Wangtown. It's called Wangtown.
It's Wangtown, yeah.
Wangtown Rising.
Oh, no, please not Rising. Please not Rising. Let's just go with Wangtown remaining perfectly still.
It's Wangtown. That's my new Flaccid Jazz album.
I was going to say Wangtown Flaccid. Hopefully it takes place in a very cold climate.
Story Mill Media.
Enjoy the world and all its terrors? Interested to learn more about unexplained entities and dark legends from across the globe? Join myself and Dr. Sophie Yang as we share horrors, fears, and taboos from her home in Taiwan and discuss the similarities and differences between what scares souls in the East and West. Learn about what haunts the Taiwanese mountains, what comes for you in death, and much more. Check out That Scares Me Too, available now. That's 2, like boo.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.